So today is day 135 and there's not actually much that I have got to talk about today. What I was just reflecting on now was the changing of the seasons, and I have spoken about this before. So right behind me is a pond and there's all these frogs singing, and there's also a whole lot of mosquitoes flying around in the air, and there's birds chirping and the sun is kind of setting. And I was just thinking of the way that the seasons affect us, and especially in the north, when you live in the north and the seasons are so intense, they're so dominant, it's really easy to pay attention and to kind of see how they're affecting us. However, in the south, if you live in the southern hemisphere, it's a bit more subtle. So it's a good check-in to kind of see how the changing of this season is affecting you and where we are at in the seasons, in which part of the world that you're in, and how it is affecting you. And, you know, are you feeling this desire to go in, or are you feeling this desire to go out and be outside, or are you feeling the desire just to be in the inner realms and get creative inside and cozy on up inside? So we get so affected by the seasons, and very often we're really unaware about it. We kind of forget about it. It's the same as being a woman, and we get so affected by the moon and our monthly cycle. However, we often forget about it. And that kind of brings me to the topic of birth control. And a lot of women who are on birth control and have been on birth control for a very, very long time. So some women have never actually really had a proper period because they've been on birth control for so long. And so what happens is your body kind of gets quite confused, and you don't really understand or know how your body feels in its natural cycle. Because what happens with our bodies, and men have the same thing, it's just more subtle, but with women's bodies, we really respond very strongly to the cycles of the moon. So we have so many different stages of the month and so many different ways that our body experiences the stages of the moon. So when we start to listen and start to understand that, it's really interesting, and it can really help us in our self-care and our mental health, and just stay more present with what's happening with us, and not taking so much on, as in, you know, I'm feeling bloated because I've eaten too much and I'm fat and blah, 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 blah. You know, just know it's that time of the month where you're retaining water, and in a couple days it will go. Or, you know, I'm so grumpy, there's something wrong with me, my life sucks. And it's like, no, there's just, you know, it's that time of the month where you're feeling down, and that's okay. And in a couple days it will pass. So knowing the cycles that we're actually living inside and living amongst can really help us to understand ourselves, to soften with ourselves. It can help us to be more connected to the world around us, and the part that we play in the world around us, and the part that the world around us plays within us. So it's a really nice way to connect and feel the wholeness and the completeness and the expansion of what it is to be human on this planet, and that we are not separate from the trees or the sky or the water or the earth or the moon or the sun. We're actually all in this together, moving together, flowing together, harmonizing each other, bouncing off each other. We're moving in this world together, all of us as living organisms. So I was just reflecting on that as I could hear the frogs going off behind me, and the birds tweeting, and the big mosquitoes flying around, and it's summer is coming here, and I'm feeling a desire just to be out in the sun. However, it's not quite warm enough for me yet to fully be out in the sun. So part of me really wants to get out there, and then the other part is like, oh, not yet. So that's day 135.